This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Live tonight for the virtual Iowa Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to LSR TV's continuing coverage of the 2020 Real Sim Racing Icebreaker Winter Series, supporting the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth. As always, on a Monday night, so happy that you're with us at your home for sim racing and the iRacing Esports Network, where alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Justin Prince and our producer, Andy Janet, as we get set to go racing for round number 5 of 10 on this 2019-2020 campaign. And Justin, it is the final one of the 2019 calendar year as we go night racing tonight from Iowa.
Yes, indeed, the first of 2 short track races on the calendar in the 2019-20 season, but it's going to be an absolutely exciting one because this is such a driver's track here, Evan. You can ride either on the bottom along the yellow line all the way up to the top line. There's so many different lines you can run as a driver.
And of course, the big story coming into this first short track race of the year is, of course, we are coming out of the one and only road course race. And it was Andrew Ferdinand last Monday night who took home a 3rd straight win in this series from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And I think the bigger story on top of that is that Nick Holslander, who had been lockstep with him throughout the first 3 weeks of this championship, did not make a start in that race. And also, I believe Josh is just taking a look, not making a start here this evening as well. So that, in theory, takes Ferdinand's biggest championship competition off of the board. Kyle Trudell jumped up to 2nd, but he is 41 points behind Ferdinand, who has been red hot to start the year, finishing never outside of the top 3.
Yeah, it's going to take a mistake from him for anyone to try and reel him in because he's been near picture perfect. He's been able to keep the car clean, keep himself incident-free, and has a good chance to come away with the W tonight because he's shown good speed in practice, fastest car in the session by nearly a full 1/10 of a second, and he's one of the best drivers in painting that bottom line and riding the bumps the most efficient and fastest way around the track as long as you can save the tires while doing so.
And of course, this is going to continue as the season goes on. We'll see if he's able to build upon that advantage or if he does falter in any sort of way and other drivers are going to be able to close back into him. So along with Ferdinand and Trudell, you do have McClendon, Holslander, and Eberhardt, your top 5 of the points, with Kamer, Nieto, George, Cato, and Ray through the top 10 in the running order. But of course, this is the first oval race of the calendar with the new V7 tire model. Those were in effect in the sim last week in Mid-Ohio, but of course, you'll really notice those differences more on the ovals, so making tonight that much more important of one to circle on the calendars. We'll see how drivers try to get adjusted to this.
Yeah, they'll have to get used to the tire heating with these because it will take a couple laps for them to get up to heat to be able to go full force in terms of lap times and total pace. As well, if you push too hard, you're going to burn up your tires pretty quickly. Anything above 300 degrees Fahrenheit, you will burn a lot. And I mean a lot of your tire wear right up, and you potentially will either struggle in the long run or smack into the wall. So it's tough to balance that out. And tonight you're going to see a lot of those drivers who are the best of the best at preserving their equipment while also maintaining pace migrate to the front, while those who may be considered, say, hot lappers fall to the back as the race progresses.
And there are several drivers that are able to put down some hot laps within striking distance of Ferdinand, who was able to top the qualifying session. But are they going to be able to do anything with him once we drop the green flag as we get set to go race it for 150 laps under the lights this evening on the 7th to 8th mile Iowa Speedway? Let's go trackside and take a look at tonight's LSR TV starting grid. And it is the only driver to go sub 24, a 23.983 for Andrew Ferdinand, who will bring us to the green flag tonight. He was joined on the outside of the front row by the double O of Jared Mogard. Bobby Terrell starts in third position. He barely squeaks out a tie between Brian Chambliss, who ends up fourth, and Jonathan Cadell, who goes through the top five. Both of those cars with 24.097s.
Kyle Trudell, one of the fastest cars in practice, with a 24.1 in sixth position tonight. He'll start in front of row number 4, which sees Sam Nieto make the start alongside Galen Gidman. David Washington starts in 9th, and Kyle Kamer, he was second fastest in practice, qualified in 10th.
He challenged for the race win last week in the early half. Let's see if he's able to do so tonight as well. Behind Kamer, you'll find Scott McClendon in the number 11 spot, and he's teamed up with Thomas George into P12 on the outside of row 6. Kevin Pearson will roll from 13th position. Joshua Baird in 14th spot as we get halfway through the field. Bobby Krug rounds out the top 15.
Sean Kalis will start in 16th position. He'll start right in front of P17 and 18 of Eric Stanford and Michael Kaczynski. In 19th spot, the final qualifiers, Steve Cunningham. The rest of the field set up provisionals. The 20th position goes to Steve Sora in the 75 machine.
And continuing on through these provisional spots, Steve Durham will start in 21st, and Gael Brooks 22nd, Todd Novosad 23rd, John Ronnet within P24, and then on the back half of the grid here, last row, Jonathan Lawrence will start in 25th, and Ross Cato from 24th. As the field pace is off at 1 and 2, let's talk about the fastest short track on the planet, the D-shaped oval of Iowa Speedway. Again, 7/8 mile length, 4 quarters, progressively banked at 12 at the bottom, 14 up top, and we are night racing this evening. It is certainly going to be a fun one. I know by the distance it doesn't count as an actual short track, but I still think in the grand scheme of things with these Xfinity Series cars, it's about as short of a racetrack as you'll see in today's schedules, and I think it is going to be a very fun bull ring per se as these drivers get set to fight it out.
The way people have described it is it drives almost like a mix of Richmond and a mile-and-a-half circuit, wherein that you see a lot of consistent lines, but at the same time you can battle side by side for laps at a time and really show what you can do at this type of track. This is a stellar facility for, in terms of racing, a track favorite and a fan favorite for a reason on the schedule. It's going to be interesting to see who comes up on top, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the top line, Evan, somewhere where we see a couple drivers try and get runs to make moves, especially at the start of this race.
Couple of big racetracks still to come on this calendar, but we do also have Rockingham and Phoenix still to go. So maybe tonight could be a preview of who may find success in those later races as we get set to close in on the second half of the season, start counting our way down to crowning a 2020 Icebreaker champion. As always, though, happy that you're with us on LSR TV, the iRacing Sports Network. The field's going to be in the hands once more of Andrew Ferdinand as he looks to go 4 in a row. And we say, let's go racing from Iowa. Green flag in the air for round 5.
And a few drivers checking up in the starting zone just outside the top 10. But the top line, the preferred line of these starts, we'll have to see which drivers can try and make that top line work into 3.
Yeah, first time down the backstretch. Top 2 broken away. The fight is going to be on for third with Terrell on the inside line with teammate up top and Brian Chambliss 2 by 2. From that point on back, the first lap lead does go to Andrew Ferdinand. No issues for he and Bogard getting off the way. Watching the battle. Third on back here.
Oh, trouble. 23 in the wall. And Joshua Baird with a huge collision is stopped on the racetrack.
He's the only one up and into the fence, so no caution, and we will stay green. The 43 at Kalis, I think, came in late and got a piece of it, but it is not a 3-car incident, so this race is going to stay green. No caution triggered by the sim. We continue. You watch what happened to Baird. There's a lot of cars that he's around, but it's really all on his own. Watch when they get back down to 1 and 2. Car just breaks sideways, and he'll snap it up the hill when he tries to catch it.
Yeah, you'll see that right on the entry to turn 1. Tries to stay up high, nearly runs to the back end of Pearson, loses the back end, and right there, snaps it too hard to the right. And Sean Cale just goes right through him, loses his front hood. And no caution as he didn't go all the way around, and by the time he stopped, everybody was cleared on by. Speaking of clearing on by, Mogart is already up to second.
And Mogart in the number 2 position there, dropping it back from Friedage. You can see him running a half a second difference. Let's see the lap times. This time through, Friedage 24:07.9. It is a 1:60 for Mogart. So that's almost a tenth of a second difference. It isn't a lot on the score sheet, but of course, when you do that lap after lap, that is going to bode well for the 88, trying to pull away. Also in that fight for third that we were watching before the incident, Chambliss has been able to get around Terrell. In fact, Chambliss and Cadell both able to put moves on the 4-car. So Terrell down 2 from the start. And he's got more company with the likes of Nieto and drivers also lined up behind. Side by side, a little bit further down the running order, sees McClendon and Trudell doing battle. That will be for 8 and 9.
Yeah, keep an eye on the lines. You'll see McClendon try and ride all the way to the bottom line. That's the shortest way around. But that top line, if you can make it stick, you carry so much momentum off the corner that you're able to get a run to try and either make a pass or try and clear by somebody. Here's the thing, though. If you stay up there too long, you'll burn up that right front. If you don't hit the bottom of the racetrack too well, you'll also burn up your right front and or your right rear. McClendon already back under attack, though, as Gidman is now to the inside of the 22.
Yeah, Gidman's going to go down at the inside, and in the 22 car opting to go for that high side in 3 and 4. Again, using that progressive banking to his advantage. Trying to ring that thing around the outside. He's able to hold off the 94 for now. Of course, did lose out in that exchange with Trudell. You're also seeing this split line inside, or I guess just at the tail of the top 5. Bobby Terrell P5, Sam Nieto P6. It's a side-by-side battle you're looking at now as they put lap number 8 behind them. The 4-car running in line up top. That's where Cadell, Chambliss, all those cars in front of him are running. But the 2 wants to go down low, and for Sam Nieto, it may just pay off as he's got him into the top 5 for the first time.
Yeah, Sam Nieto hit that corner perfectly. And trouble, George around.
Caution flag going to be out for the first time this evening as it is up against the outside wall. Stanford also involved, but Thomas George is where all the problems start. And it looks like it was contact between he and the 8-car, Kyle Kamer, who helped him around with contact on the left rear quarter.
Yeah, Kyle Kamer just sent it in much more harder in 3 and 4's entry. Keep it on this. Kamer is about a car length, making about up to 2 or 3 back on the entry to turn number 3. And watches the front bumper just ends up hitting the number 9. Just sends it in hard and just helps him out and just helps him finish up the job. And everybody else starts to pile in as the cars stop at the top of turn 4.
Nowhere for those drivers to be able to avoid it, so that's how the extras get picked up in it. Kyle Kamer does claim responsibility for being the cause of the caution, so the driver who started mid-Ohio with so many hopes to maybe challenge for the race win in that one is going to have his work to do if he wants a similar result tonight, because he will get an end of the longest line of penalty before the next race start. Oh, race leaders down pit road. Friedage to pit stall number 1 as we see if they go all for 4 tires.
And wouldn't be surprised to see a couple drivers try 2 tires. Yes, there'll be a difference in terms of the hot tire pressures on the left sides and the colder tire temps on the right sides, but it is a way for somebody to try and gain track position. But the race off pit road was nearly side by side. Friedage just got out in front of Mogart.
He was able to stave him off of the pit lane. If that line for pit road exit scoring was a little bit further down the runway, maybe Mogart would have had a chance, but that number 1 pit stall does help out, and Friedage stays in front. Mogard will be second off of the pit lane. Chambliss stays third, but Nieto picks up. So does Terrell Washington Trudell. The big loser, the 69 of Jonathan Cadell, who may just have been hit with a penalty because that car let everybody by on the back straightaway.
Yes, that is definitely a penalty there for Jonathan Cadell, who was in pit box number 5. The thing is, the pit speed here at this racetrack, 40 miles an hour. He went as high as 45 at the commitment cone at the exit of the pit road. That is why he's lost all his track position, as will have to go to the tail end of the longest line.
So a tough break for Cadell, who had started in a very good position, had been running a top 10 car, started P5, dropped off a couple right off of the get-go, but unfortunately for him, he will have to go back into the thick of things and try to deal with the upcoming restart as we get set to get a very early yellow, so not a ton happening off of the start, and expecting Friedage to kind of get this thing sorted back out and go at it once more. I don't expect any major changes.
Yeah, don't expect anything too major here. It's just going to be the matter of what will it take for them to try and settle the pass, because it's difficult to get the lead, especially here. I've noticed when it comes to battling the clean air and dirty air, even here at a track like Iowa. So it's going to be where you need either force Andrew to make a mistake, or you get to his outside off the exit of turn 4 and take away that preferred line. So if you can do that, if you're Jared Morgard, or time it up perfectly and keep it side by side off of turn number 2, I think he might be able to come up on top by the end of the first lap off the restart. If he can't, I'd say just set yourself up to try and get to that quarter panel.
Also interesting to see a handful of drivers, most of them with damage, opting to come back down to the pit lane. But in addition to that, drivers just also coming down to top off. Drivers at the back of the pack anyways, just coming in. And I think those are most of the drivers who, the whole strategy play for this is that they just want to stay at the back, stay out of trouble, and try to play this one for the long con per se, and aren't interested in doing a battle only 13 laps in to a 150 lap contest. Is up at the front of the field. We'll see the lights on top of the pace car go out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised some of the drivers want to get their damage fixed, make sure the aerodynamics are together, because after we've seen the contact before Sean Kalis, he was about 2-3 seconds a lap off the pace nearly, because he had lost that front end and damaged the motor. He still happened to be in the garage area to repair the rest of that race car. So you don't want to end up like him, or end up like the 75 in Sora, where you don't even have a front bumper anymore. You want to keep the car clean from start to finish in a short track race such as this.
The lights out on the pace car. We'll see Friedage once again to bring us to the green flag. Then again, restart procedure changes for restarts. So be able to control. This one starts any time between when the pace car hits pit road and the field. It gets all the way to the end of the restart box. So we'll see what game the 88 wants to play. He'll go the second or two and put the right foot down. Green flag back in the air as we take lap number 15. And this time the fight behind him will be for second. Chambliss tries to challenge Mogard, but the bottom line not going to work in 2. And now here comes Nieto looking at a well to the inside in 3. He'll now challenge for that third spot.
Mogard nearly overdrove the corner off turn 2 and nearly had the 3-wide situation. But Nieto, he's got a problem. He's got the potential to be freight trained up on the top side. But remember, he's been able to ride those bumps on the bottom of 1 and 2 to try and battle back against that progressive banking in the top of 3 and 4.
And you can see even the 88 of Friedage out in front. I mean, he goes immediately to the outside line, but Nieto has been very committed to the bottom. He's able to get the position in the center of the quarter. The challenge, therefore, comes, though, keeping that speed and translating that speed off of the quarter to complete the pass right there, side by side with the 98. In fact, a little bit in front, but by the time we get down to turn number 3, he's cleared by a half a car length. So Nieto, though, sticking with the bottom line. If he wants to go up top, there's space for him to do so.
I think the thought, though, is if he goes up to the top, he might burn up his equipment more quickly. He might be thinking of the long, big picture, where if you stay at the bottom the whole run, you end up saving your tires that way. So that's what his thought is, I think, at this moment. Yes, you risk losing positions now, but you can end up gaining on the long run by keeping your tires nice and cool and not overheating them by potentially rim riding the top where you have to try and carry a ton of speed.
When you can see this single file line, it is second on backs. This quintuplet of Mogard, Chambliss, Washington, Nieto, all second through the number 5 spot. They're almost a second already behind Friedrich. You can see the counter at the top of the screen. 18 laps led already. It'll be 19 as we put that many laps in the books. And as well, that car behind interval towards the right-hand side of the top there is going to continue to grow lap after lap as he is just better than these cars right now. Look at Washington peeking to the bottom of the 25. Not going to bite yet, but it is an interesting 4-car breakaway ahead of Terrell, who in P6 is kind of all on his own there. As we again see Nieto going back to the yellow line. Not much cooking, though, on that attempt.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell's just not doing too well on the top line compared to the rest of the grouping. His own teammate right now is running about a 1/10 of a second quicker, or about a 1/2 a tenth rather. So I think Bobby just needs to get himself into a rhythm. It's a rhythm track too, so you have to make sure you get yourself in a good position right now. Bobby might be just trying to settle things on out as these guys are getting ready to fight here for second.
Yeah, the battle is going to be on. The question is Chambliss going to be the one to throw the first punch because he is getting on the back of the double O. At the same time, though, Chambliss has been challenging him for third. So who's going to make the first move here? Nieto still wants to go on the bottom all the way up to alongside there of Washington. But again, he can be there on exit. There he is. You just can't keep that off of the quarter. You would essentially almost have to go for the slide job to clear him center off to take that preferred line away if he wants this to work. But I guess if it ain't tearing up the equipment like a lot of drivers would fear the inside line to do, then there really is no harm for Nieto to run down on the bottom line right now. But no changes after we thought these three would get it off. And in fact, they've actually closed in on Friedrich the last couple of laps and dropped back down to 7/10. So Friedrich missed a lap 2 or 3 ago, but he's balanced things back out, not really closing on him, just keeping him honest as we continue to watch the fight for second on back.
I'm wondering if at this point he knows what's going on back here and seeing this fight with Sam Nieto wanting to go and get positions now in this bottom to middle line in 3 and 4 and thinking, may as well save my equipment. He's one of those drivers who makes the drivers behind him work and burn up their stuff, then waltzes away once he feels comfortable he can do so. Andrew's in that situation to do so because he just gained another 10th this lap because of all this battling you're seeing up on your screen. So Andrew's in a situation where he doesn't have to go 100%. He can go maybe 50% and be safe.
It has almost looked like at points here as well in this group that we've been keeping an eye on. And of course, some fighting going on throughout the field, but this is kind of the most concentrated handful of cars that we see. Just a lap ago, looked like Washington could have made a dive to the inside, just opted not to, and maybe stays in that P4 position. Maybe more so worried about just defending against Nieto as opposed to attacking the cars in front. I mean, 150 laps at Iowa Speedway is not a marathon, but it ain't a short race either. I'm sure these drivers appreciate the fact that, even if we don't have yellows, they're going to be coming down for pit stops at some point to give their arms a rest, and yellows to do that as well, because that Mid-Ohio race without yellows was non-stop, aside from most drivers just getting one single trip down to the pit lane to rest. I mean, those road course races really take a toll on you, and especially if you got the force feedback cranked up, whatever the sim rig is that these drivers have at home. A little bit of a different challenge as they try to get back into the zone here. These 3-4 cars, on the 25 into the fence there. I was just about to say, these cars may fight until somebody makes a mistake, and it was Chambliss who smacked the fence at a turn 2, and an 98 car, Washington, almost got into him, was able to stay off.
Yeah, I was about to say, with these type of cars, if you end up having a situation where you lose the back end, you can smack the wall. This is 3 wide.
And it's Washington on the inside. Way down low, you'll find Nieto. And then up top is Brian Chambliss, who smacked the ball and got that damage. And Washington trying to lead the herd into turn number 1. He's got the advantage. He will clear the 25 of Chambliss. He'll go for the deuces and get around the 2 of Nieto. And he's got it. Washington goes to third, all on the account of that mistake from the 25.
And that was the concern I had a little bit in terms of the tires. If you burn up the right rear, When you get back on the gas, there's a chance you snap. That time, Chambliss just had that snap down the middle of the straightaway once he got to full power potentially. And now that lost him the 2 spots as a result, back to 5th position. Now it's going to take some work for Washington and Nieto here to try and reel back in Mogard. They're now going to the bottom side to do so.
And now we'll see if there's any real long-term damage here to Chambliss. I mean, he's got the back-end damage. I thought that it was maybe because Washington had gotten into him. It didn't. That's just damage courtesy of actually getting into the fence there, and thought that maybe Terrell would jump on him. Remember, those two were side by side right off of the drop of the initial green flag, fighting the upper 3 spot. But it looks like the 25's all right, and this 3-car group is not really going to go away from each other. They were looking at a couple of challenges that time. They'll get back in line, but as they sit, it's Washington, Nieto, and Chambliss, 3rd, 4th, and 5th on track, all behind Mogard in P2, who is now 2 whole seconds behind Friedon. So he is checked back out up front. The car peeking to the bottom of the racetrack again, and a Donnie 8 car adjusting his line to go a little bit lower to counter.
Yeah, Nieto looking like he's got the better of the tires, at least for the time being. The thing is, he's going to need a time up the pass. That's the thing. It's still difficult to try and make the move at the bottom in 3 and 4. He needs to clear by corner apex and then try and slide on. Thing is, he's just not setting himself up to do that quite yet. So it's going to take some time to try and wait for that right opportunity to make sure he keeps these tires nice and cool. There's still a long ways to go. And we remind you, of course, Evan, still have to make a pit stop to make it on fuel.
Yeah, so if this does stay green, this could turn into, and of course, a strategy-filled race. And when you want to make that decision, there is some hot traffic up high, so might get a glimpse of some 3 wide once more as Kalis holds it around the outside, and 98 car, and he's into the fence. They weren't able to make it work as the 98 went to make the pass as they were getting around Kalis, and Nieto pushed up, squeezed him into the wall. Those cars lucky that they aren't out of this thing entirely.
He tried to go for the slide job, got clear a bit on the apex. Thing is, Washington didn't let up as he tried to pass by lap traffic, and now Washington is losing another spot potentially to Brian Chambliss here because of that.
And those drivers discussing it over the radio. Curious how aggressive the 98 of Washington is going to be if he can get back to Nieto there. And of course, now the 98 just has to worry about getting back atop Brian Chambliss, who kind of finds himself now under fire. The 98 with damage. 25 got damage also by ending up into the outside wall. And I wonder if this will hurt Washington because he's dropping way off of Nieto, who's kind of run away from this group.
He's got aero damage on both sides of the front fenders at this moment, so that is definitely going to affect the handling on that race car off the corners. It's going to make it more difficult to try and make his way around this racetrack. And remember, he stayed up at the top to middle lines most of this run, along with many of the others. That also can heat up the tires off the corner, and right now, he just seems to be a little bit more off now. In the 25 flats, that entire group, compared that to Mogard and Nieto, they're in the 24 7s to 9s.
And look at the 25 machine. I mean, he's getting right up to the outside wall on corner exit, really trying to get that car to rotate. I don't know if that means that car struggles to get off the corner and it's pushing a lot, whatever it may have you. The 25 machine continues to want to figure that out as Sam Nieto's been inspired. He wants to challenge for the number 2 spot. It's been old Jared Mogard, but he doesn't get a good run off of the corner, and Nieto will go to the inside, side by side, for second place on the racetrack. The 2 car gets in front in the center, but again, unable to clear by using the inside, so he'll stay locked on his door as this battle's on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, Nieto on that bottom side has been able to ride it much more. Remember, he started from the start of the run along the bottom line. Compare that to everyone you've seen on your screen. They've stayed up at the top and are just now migrating to the bottom. That massive difference, about 20 laps in terms of different lines, has set up Nieto, I think, to be the fastest car in the long run. It's the matter, though, of first, can he get away from these cars? Second, can he get by Mogard? Third, can he find a way to get to Freenage before the pit window opens? As these cars on your screen stay single file, Nieto's still fighting just in front of them.
Well, let me know if you heard this story before, but I think this one might come down to drivers having to mix up some strategy to put a play to Andrew Friedage. We'll see again Nieto with this newborn speed on board in this battle for 4th and 5th, still ongoing with Washington. You can see the side-by-side up the road, still locked. There it is, the 2 on the inside, Double O on the outside. I don't know if they're going to be able to, despite any sort of speed advantage, I think it's enough of an accomplishment to just be even-ish with Fridage's lap times. The longer they go side by side, the more time they are tossing in the trash bin, and that number 88 car continues to stretch down at 2/10 a lap as this continues.
Yeah, if you're Nieto, you're hoping to clear right now, and Mogart's not giving up. He's actually trying to push hard on the gas to make sure he holds on to the 2nd position and gets some good points here. Mogart right now having the best run of the season for him so far. I'm not surprised to see him not back down, but this is so frustrating if you're Nieto. If you were him, you're probably thinking, please get either some luck or a mistake, as Mogart now goes to block the bottom.
He wants to take that spot away. He sees that Nieto has been pretty much one of the only drivers, at least noticeably top 10, to be working the bottom. You can see some side-by-side further back as Bobby Terrell going to go to the inside of David Washington. They've also brought the 7. Kyle Trudell with them, who didn't have a good start and has just been able to climb back up into the top 6 in this one. He'll watch this battle side-by-side. Carl Terrell thought he had it there, but opted not to go up and take the line away, and that gives Washington some life still back into 1.
If I'm Terrell, I'm following, pardon me, I should say Trudell. If I'm Trudell, I'm following Washington if he gets a run up on the top side. But for now, just stay patient and see what happens, because these cars are focusing on the battle up in front. At this point, see what happens, then try and capitalize on whoever's got the most momentum to make the pass.
Far from over as Terrell made the move. He'll go back down to the inside of Chambers, battling for 2nd again as we try to watch both of these. Nieto was just back to the inside of Mogard, and now the Double O stays in front. Look at this now, role reversal. Mogard to the very inside. It'll be Nieto who's going to wind it up and sling it out of turn 4. You'll see how much he closes in, but the closing rate wasn't enough to make up the time that he lost by taking the outside. And now he'll go right back down to the bottom, or he's been more comfortable tonight.
Yeah, he's been more comfortable in the bottom in 1 and 2, but I'm not surprised he's trying the top line here again. Try and take that away from him on the corner exit. He's at this point, though, trying to ramp it off the progressive banking to try and get an extra run. It's just not working quite yet. Here he goes to the bottom again.
Once more, down about a half a length off of the yellow line, so not all the way to the inside, but certainly lower than anybody else has wanted to go, and now they're back to their respective roles. 2 car on the bottom, and it is Mogard stringing it on the outside line. He'll stay in front, and these 2 cars very evenly matched. That wide shot there, you can see the battle behind was eventually won by Terrell. So Bobby Terrell now up into position number 4 as Nieto will try for the upteenth time. Lapped car down on the inside line. That's Steve Soa with some damage. He'll drop it down to a lap down.
Yeah, and that very courteous. Right now, Nieto trying to not be so courteous. Had to force Mogart to check up there. This might get him the spot.
He's got a good run down into turn 1, but he needs to be able to clear and take the line away off the center. So close, but not enough. And on board with Mogard, who will squeeze the right-hand side and up against the fence to stay there. I really thought turn 1 was a good look for him. Again, close. Not good enough, and through all of that, it's still Mogard actually winning out in that fight at the stripe. When this side-by-side battle started, they were 3 seconds behind Andrew Friedage. Since, that advantage has grown to 5.2, now 5.3 seconds, absolutely losing tons and tons of time every single time around.
If I'm Nieto, I'm screaming in my head, please let me go. Right now, Mogard is thinking of holding on to this spot, and Nieto, I don't know what else he can really do at this point. He's trying as hard as he can. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to force another checkup from Mogard here, because you can tell with the way he's exiting some of these corners, the frustration level is starting to build.
And at some point you wonder, again, this goes back to the conversation we had about Isaiah, or really a short track, do you just move him? If it was Martinsville, you probably could. You're still looking at speeds up to, on the straightaway here, we'll see what they get up to, 140, 150. And they're still staying in the triple digits in the center of the corner. I mean, that's a lot of speed to kind of give somebody a shove. But, I mean, both of these cars are not benefiting at all by continuing this lap after lap. In fact, Trudell and Terrell and those drivers starting to close in. They once were so far behind, I didn't even consider them options to join this fight for P2. You've been seeing it on the wide shots, how far back that group had been. But they are closing in now as these two are still deadlocked.
This is the main concern if you were side by side for such a long time. Not just the side drafts and lost momentum off each and every corner, but it allows everyone else to have a shot at you once more. And Bobby Terrell at this point, along with Kyle Trudell, who are both reeling them in, if I'm them, I'm thinking I'm taking advantage of the Nieto and trying to get the spots back by riding the top line when he's stuck side by side, because that might take away things. Nieto at this point has to be aware of that. He's going to the top this time to stop them.
He's really trying to figure this out. I wonder now for Nieto if he's noticed. You got to think he sees those cars coming, and I wonder if this is going to be the wake-up call, or if he thinks sending Terrell on the 00 could maybe benefit both of them. The race leader now is over 6 seconds ahead of this group. It is a three-way and maybe a four-way battle for the race lead shortly, because that dark 7 of Kyle Trudell closing in as well. Nieto, he'll look to the inside, but with no advantage off the corner. He has to sit, wait, and now make his dive as we close in on getting towards the halfway point in this race. Only 15 laps away as of this time by from the cross flags.
And they are now just barely inside the fuel window we should note here, Evan. But it's still a ways away. I think if you want to be on the better tires to go into the pit lane, there's still a ways to go. But here comes Bobby to the inside.
Side by side, this challenge now for third. Terrell is trying to make a move on Sam Nieto, who has been unable to make a pass for second position. It has been absolute chaos, and I'm sure has been driving the two machine up the wall that he can't get it done. It looks like Terrell now knows exactly what the two cars feeling like, because he's good on the bottom, but he is not good enough. Drag race down into one. The 4 car not going quite as low as the 2 did, and that's going to be the secret. Small bobble by Nieto. He'll lose 1 and 2 spots as Terrell and Trudell get by, and Sam Nieto, instead of going up to P2, through all of this drops to 5th.
And that's something with this new tire model. Like you see sometimes in real life, if you fight too hard for a position like he did for upwards of 30 laps, it burns up your tires. Now that advantage he had by riding the bottom of the start of the race 7, it's flipped towards everyone else having an advantage because of how hard he had to fight Mogard. So now he's going to have to deal with more worn tires than the rest of his compatriots in this grouping of cars, including guys like McClendon and Chambliss, who are also fighting for 7th.
I wonder, as this battle for 7th is on, and McClendon going to go by on the inside. He passes Chambliss, so things have continued on that downhill slope for the 25 since he got into the wall with that Washington and McClendon haven't been able to get around him. Curious if Terrell has obviously been watching what happened with that Mogard battle, and if he'll try anything different. There's a lot of radio chatter. Maybe drivers starting to talk about a pit number to try to get them to go the distance. Get the early yellow flag, and this one got us backing away at about lap number 15 or so, a little bit before that. So you would think that that fuel number wouldn't be that far past.
Cadell stopped in the backstretch. Jonathan Cadell having trouble down the back straightaway in the 69, was in 15th position.
And it was a solo car spin, no caution, we stay green. It in fact didn't even touch the fence, just got loose, locked it up on a flat part of the racetrack, and it was able to hang on to it. The damage you actually see on that car from an earlier incident, which I'm sure is not healthy handling of that machine. We'll see it happen here as he comes into turn number 2. The car's close, but nowhere near anybody getting into him. It pushes up the hill. He's going to turn it hard to give it off of the fence. And right there, he locks it up. That keeps it out of the fence. So really no incident, and therefore no yellow.
Great job locking it up there, but the problem is that's definitely overheated the tires even more so. And on top of that, with the damage you already seen on the car, it's really going to affect him. He's just in front of that battle for second position. That's now turned to a 4-car scrap.
The 7 to Trudell has gotten into the picture as well, able to leapfrog Nieto, who not only now has dropped back to that number 5 spot, but may drop even further more back because Washington and McClendon, in all honesty, aren't that far back either. But it is Terrell on the inside of Mogard. Nobody has been able to make the pass on him since he took that P2 spot away. And Trudell, the 3rd car in this group, but there it is. Bobby Terrell gets it done. He'll take away 2nd spot. And now we'll see if the floodgates open on the 00 as it's Trudell trying on the bottom. He needs a good run off of 4. Not going to get it this time by.
And I was wondering if Bobby was saving, like we were talking about. If you can save, you can push on the later part of the run. That's exactly what he did to be able to get by these cars and get the speed at the end of this run. But Mogard, he's been pushing very hard all run. It's going to be difficult still to try and make the move because he has been one of the faster cars on the track. Is lap traffic. Hello.
Yeah, a lot of traffic. It's Cadell who's pinched right in the middle of all of this. It is going to force Trudell to go down to the inside line. The 69 will hold the top, and they are all going to get on through, but that 69 car ended up right in front of the ball, and Mogard now under fire. It's Trudell's opportunity. Mogard unsuccessful. Terrell was able to get the job done, so we'll see if the 3rd car is going to go either into the positive or the negative in this exchange. Trudell leading at the start-finish line, but again, the key is the run off of the corner, and they get squeezed a little bit on entry, with the 00 coming much lower to restrict that 7 car's arc.
Yeah, now I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Trudell tries to squeeze Mogard up the track and take the middle line, get himself a bit of a run. The thing is, he's just been committed to that bottom off the corner. That time, a decent run to get side by side. Should note, David Washington is the first of the lead drivers to pit.
So he comes down actually shy of the halfway point. That would make his run to the end of the race obviously longer than the green flag stretch that he just completed. I was thinking maybe more so towards lap 80 would be kind of a midway point since that one and only yellow flag at a restart to make this one go the distance. But the 7 to Trudell has done it. He'll take 3rd, able to get around Mogard, and now you'll see all the lap traffic mixed in here as pit stops starting to kick off. Justin, the 2 cars side by side with the double low. Does he try to pinch him? Mogard finds space on the bottom of the 51. And if I'm the Yano, I don't know if all these cars being able to get around to Mogard, but I wasn't able to, makes me feel better or worse.
I think it makes you feel worse. It makes you be more frustrated. It's to the point where it's like, you've got to let me by eventually. Finally, Nieto, this is after 40-something odd laps of battling, give or take, Evan. Finally gets this position, but it's too little too late because what could have been second and what could have been a run towards Andrew Freenosh, that's evaporated. All that fighting in that entire group grew the lead to nearly 9 seconds from first to second.
And that is really going to hurt him again. Not only, as you mentioned, was it the positions lost because sure, he finally got around to Mogard, but he's actually running further down the running order than when he was when he first caught him. He was 3rd when he wanted to fight for 2nd. Now that pass only gets him back to P4, but of course 10 seconds behind Freenosh. I think the biggest thing that hurts him is we're halfway home in the NPHY.org 150, expecting a influx of cars down to the pit lane shortly. We got 17 of them still on the lead lap. Keep in mind that likes of Washington, some of these other drivers have already pitted, but just an update on some of the cars that have been struggling. Steve Sola is 2 laps down with his damage. Sean Kalis, Eric Stanford, and Joshua Baird are all in the garage. Their night's not going to make it the distance.
Unfortunate for them, Stanford just putting it in the garage here about 30 laps ago, but it's been surprising how quick this race has gone. But this is a track where, yes, it's considered technically a short track, but technically not. But it's also one where you can get these very long green flag runs, upwards of 60, 80, even a full 90 plus laps. even a full 120 laps for some of the drivers on the official iRacing service this past week in the Cup cars. That's what makes it such a fun track to be able to race at. What can affect that is, yes, the drivers when you have to fight them. That can turn the fun part into an absolute challenge to move up the field.
But of course, it is, kind of a double parallel, if you will, there, where drivers want to be able to run on a multi-groove racetrack, and we're going to get a yellow. Lap 79, second one of the night, and it is the 94 of Galen Gidman. So just as we were preparing to see some green flag pit stops, it is the 94. Oh, and something happened up the road.
Yeah.
It was Jonathan Cadell who was sideways. This one's going to involve he and Steve Durham. This was a long and drawn-out wreck. Durham in the 10 car wrecked on his own. It collected Cadell, but I don't think the yellow actually was triggered until Cadell came up and took Gidman with him.
Yeah, you can see him come right up the racetrack, and that's what collected Gidman in the middle of the line, in the midst of traffic. My goodness. He tried to make some moves there. It looked like Steve Durham in a special paint scheme tonight, trying to get by traffic. He was in 9th position, got a decent run, but just bobbled a little bit too much, and once he got back on the gas, snapped hard to the right. Nowhere for Cadell to go, not expecting that to happen. And Cadell just slides it back up, just in the middle of traffic.
That could have been a lot more than just Gidman getting tagged in that one, as Cadell came back up the road. Heavy damage as he takes the toe to the pit lane. The rest of your race leaders will drive down for what should be, again, barring yellows and strategy there on out, maybe the final pit stop of the night, at least for fuel. The 88 car's in, way ahead of everybody else.
Everyone else can make it from here as Cadell's race is officially done. So at this point, 4 tires and fuel, the definite equation here. But this allows a lot of drivers to get back in the conversation, to try and fight with Andrew Freenage. Nieto now back on fresh tires after losing a lot of time before. Bobby Terrell, he's in a good position. Kyle Trudell, he's in an even great position, as well as Jared Mogart. Everybody's back in the conversation to try and give it another shot, to try and chase down for the race lead.
Freenage stays atop. The running order will shuffle up. Looks like, just taking a look through the field, that this may be kind of a rejuvenation attempt of sorts for some of these cars to try to get something back from that 88 machine. But we're past the halfway point in this race. Let's take a look at our Ford Entertainment Group midway race break. Andrew Freenage is your race leader. He leads atop Bobby Terrell, Kyle Trudell, Sam Nieto, and Jared Bogard is your revised top 5 running order. So Terrell with big gains on pit road. Behind those top 5, Scott McClendon runs in the number 6 position. Brian Chambliss is 7th. Ross Cato back down pit road. So I believe Michael Kuczynski will jump to 8th. Thomas George will take over 9th, and that would put John Rodden as the last car inside of the top 10.
Behind him currently on the pylon is Kevin Pearson. You also have Gael Brooks in 13th, a +9 for him so far. Durham after the caution flag, claiming the caution for the time being, was up now just a +7, was in 9th position, was the biggest mover before that caution flag. Kyle Kamers in 15th with Steve Cunningham, the last car currently on the lead lap, but just ducking down in 16th position. Jonathan Lawrence, 1 lap down, is in 17th, along with Galen Gidman, who was involved in that last incident. Todd Novosad currently being cycled to 19th. Things continuing to shift, as just at the back of that line is David Washington at the edge of the top 20, Evan. Remember, he was trying the undercut strategy. Now he's a lap down.
Yeah, tough blow for him as he ends up at the back end of this top 20. You've also got Gidman a lap down. Steve Soa 2 down. Cadell's night is done. He'll join Sean Kalis, Derek Stanford, and Joshua Baird through 24th, 25th, and 26th as the cars who will DNF in this nphy.org 150. That's been a look top to bottom at your FVG Midway Race Break. FVG PC has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built affordable computers specifically built and tuned for iRacing. Your PC will come with everything you need preloaded so you can get racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today and join the over 600 iRacers already enjoying an FVG build. PCs to fit every budget from $540 and up. Go to fvgpc.net and mention code LSRTV10 to get your build quoted today. So as we get set for a restart with 66 laps to go, I believe this time through, the question is, Justin, is that going to have been our final trip down to the pit lane? Do we get another good green flag run out of this, or do we see some yellows and some restarts shake this thing up?
Well, you know the saying, caution breed cautions. There is that potential, but it all comes down to how aggressive will these drivers be and how will lap traffic management be. So if you're any of these drivers in the top 10, you're looking to try and conserve your equipment and then start to push to chase the man of the 88 machine.
These cars off and away. The 88 car wants to start building, but was a 10-second lead back up, but he's got a good jump to one. Green flag at back of the air. Working lap 85 of 150. Ferdinand leads at a 2, and it is Trudell on the bottom, able to clear Terrell.
If you're Andrew right now up at the front of the field in front of this Hornet's Nest, you're hoping that they fight again, because if they go side by side for an extended period, there'll be good contact.
Yeah, that's not what he wants to see. He wants to see fun, but it doesn't need him to wreck, because restarts are really, it looks like, the only threat to him right now, as it was a door slam with Terrell and Bogard. Everybody able to hang on to it. Terrell ends up third, Bogard stays P4, and he's got the duo of McClendon and Nieto trying to find a way on through. McClendon's going to work the bottom, Nieto stuck behind him, and that's some deja vu for the number 2 Ford.
That top line, the preferred line, once again here on the short run. That's going to make it where if you're on the bottom, you're going to lose those positions. But remember what happened to Nieto. That allowed him to be able to be the fastest car on the long run. It's just a matter of can he get on bias. Look who he's hooked up with. The 00 is right in front of him.
And this is the battle that we watched for more than 20 laps as they fought over and over for what started as third and second position, dropped back to a battle for P4 and 5, and let's see how it navigates now with the 2 cars sideways.
He's really trying to push to get by Jared Mogart, just over-rotated off the corner, too much gas. You can tell some of the frustration from P4 is building up, because he is getting to where he's hitting that bump that's on the exit of turn 4 that can destabilize the car right where the pit entry is. He doesn't want to wait and have to work behind the 00 on the long run and lose time again. He wants to go right here, right now, and then figure out what to do from here.
And you can see the 2 again is going to go back to what he had attempted to do that first time, and that is to work on the inside line and try to figure this thing out. Again, he saw other drivers be able to do it, and it looked like that they were able to find the difference when they were not all the way down low. It was almost when they were side by side with each other, still on the bottom of that 2x2, but not right up against the yellow line. And we'll see if Nieto wants to kind of bring that fight to Bogard, or if he'll stay with running down on the very inside. It does look like Bogard's got a little bit more bite this time. Again, early in the run, cars driving very differently than he did earlier. It might take some few laps for that 2 machine to really get worked into his element. But right now, all they would be fighting for is 4th and 5th, because it is Ferdinand leading that other duo that you see with Trudell and Terrell. We may have a fight for second in a little while. Trudell had been chasing Terrell down for the longest time, and Terrell gained a lot as well on the trip down to the pit lane. The 70 car was able to beat him off of the restart.
Yeah, 2 different battles currently taking place. The thing is, that 00 is really getting affected off the corner compared to the 2 because of the right front damage from the slide with Terrell before. At this point, if you're Nieto, you're looking to try and get this job done as hard as you can right now, and then focus on the big picture, because it took him 30-40 laps to get by the 00 before. You don't want to take another 30-40 laps now, because by that point, You'll be at the end of the race by that end.
And that's the question here is, you know, how long can you wait? Do you want to make the move now to hope that you don't get stuck in, I'm not going to say with an ill-equipped race car, but if you don't make the move now, wait, you hope to not tear up your equipment. You might not have that little bit extra to finally complete the pass. The next thing you know, these final 56 laps are going to start to click by very quickly. And these drivers still putting lap times down in the mid to low 24 range. And for Nieto, I have to imagine that he's been frustrated with how this has played out. Does that influence his decision, his strategy, and I guess decision-making in this as those drivers continue to trace each other's line right now, lap number 95?
I think it does. It absolutely does. Knowing what was happening before, you're thinking, I don't want to lose time in the long run. That's why, again, if I was him, I'd try and start pushing a little bit, not too much over the edge. You try and get that spot and then figure out your saving strategy back at the bottom line. Or else you'll lose touch quickly to the 7 and the 4. He's doing that right now. He is currently losing about a half a tenth or a quarter of a tenth each lap to this battle you see up on your screen. These two are faster than the two drivers behind.
And sometimes it all works out in that way, and faster drivers able to make their way around. Green flag runs typically help with that. But you know, the two-car would argue, hey, I think it comes down to a little bit of track position and lines as well, at least based on what we've seen in this one. We do have 15 cars on the lead lap, a couple of duos looking at each other here and there, but I think for the most part, we are all single file off of this restart, which again is what Frenage wanted because he wants them to fight, but in a clean manner. If they stay side by side and they're slowing each other down, that is exactly what the 88 car needs. But if they're bumping into each other and nearly wrecking like we saw, that is not what he needs. Because again, a restart is really the only way I think drivers are going to be close to him. And as long as he hits his marks, he should be fine. But you don't want to risk that. He would very much enjoy to run this one out to the end. An advantage that has already grown to 1.6 seconds ahead of Trudell.
Yeah, right now at this point, Andrew's just in cruise control, just setting fastest lap after fastest lap in the entire race at the moment. And just looking very calm, cool, and collected, not a scratch on that race car either. He's led every single lap, and at this point, you're hoping it stays green because you don't want to risk somebody getting a good restart on you and taking that top side away in turn 1 and 2, because if you do have that situation, he might not be leading by the time we get to the other side of the racetrack at the start and finish line. So he's hoping this race just goes from green flag to checker flag, 50 to go this time by.
Inside of the final third of this NPHY.org 150, as Andrew Frenage is looking to continue a hot streak. Got the second race win of the year at Atlanta Motor Speedway, then backed it up at Homestead, won at Mid-Ohio last week, and has a very healthy championship lead coming into tonight. And yes, he's a lot ahead after 4 weeks, with 6 weeks still to go if you count this evening. Even more can happen. Nothing is written off. But when Andrew Frenage was able to find the difference in a cup package this year all season long in Monday Night Star City, when it was harder to differentiate yourself from everybody else with how those cars drove. Again, this also a fixed setup series. You give him a race car that gives more credence to the driver, and I don't think anybody's shocked with what he's doing.
I'm not shocked whatsoever at this point with Andrew and the way he's been able to dominate. The downforce package matches his style. The new tire model actually helped him, I think, even more so as well with the V7 because it leans towards his driving style of saving equipment either way. So this is right in Andrew's wheelhouse this season with the RealSimRacing Icebreaker Winter Series. It's going to be tough the rest of the way, I think, with the dates that are on the schedule to try and break up this winning streak. You're going to have to hope that he makes one crucial mistake that loses him a ton of time or damages his race car to be able to gain a lot of ground on him. But because right now what the drivers are doing, it's not going to be enough to close up a championship gap. Losing little points here and there even is not enough. You have to find a way to take him out of the race lead, cleanly, of course, and try and beat him on the racetrack.
And I think that you're going to need help, but if you can take him out of the race lead, you put him in traffic. If he's in traffic, he could have an issue. You're not going to make up what after tonight is probably going to be more than 50 points on Andrew by getting a race or two from him. But the reason he's able to build an advantage, and the reason you don't have 4 top 5s and 4 starts, he's the only driver who's done that. Only in addition to him, Kyle Trudell has finished top 10 at all 4 races, but Freenosh is only to go top 5 at all. The only reason you can't do that as well for the cars that have the consistent speed is when you're in traffic. That's where the incidents are. That's where mistakes can happen. That's how you get in trouble. And those are the things that make it difficult to play from behind from.
And that's where the aerodynamics also come into. Dirty air will affect how tight the car will be in traffic situations such as this. Such as for Nieto, he's having to deal with that aero push. Freenosh, he's not having to deal with that whatsoever. In the clean air, he's able to just run his own line, and it helps with the tire wear as well, which makes it even more difficult to make it to the race lead. But Nieto finding his way to the bottom for this pass.
He will try to dive back down on the inside, and there is that move where it's a little bit more aggressive on the door of Mogard instead of the separation. This is what Terrell did to complete the pass on him. It worked really good at 1 and 2, but in 3 and 4 it did not, and Mogard will stick right with him this time.
If he can try and clear in 1 and 2, I think he might be able to get the spot right here. No, Mogard pounded the gas to try and get the run of the apex to keep it side by side.
Close again on quarter exit, but not able to get that little bit more. And this fight continues. It is for 4th and 5th as he finally got it at a 4. Awfully close. Mogard's still there, but he might be able to put the nail in the coffin into 1 and 2. Not quite yet. The double O refusing to go down without a fight, but there it is. Sam Nieto took him about 50 laps, I think, altogether to do it, but he's finally passed Mogard.
Mogard wants the position back, though, trying as hard as he can. Big checkup from Nieto off the corner.
Yeah, you know that Newman's not going to go away easy, but he's not able to get back to him, and Sam Nieto, P4 now. Now the 2-car can really get an opportunity to show us what that car's got. He's really been one of the highlighted cars that when we get into a run, he kind of comes to life. He's able to keep that car rolling real well, and of course is able to pick up when everybody else starts to fall off. Now we'll see, can he get Terrell? Can he get Trudell? First up on deck, a lapped car for him. That's the 10 at Durham, who caused the most race in yellow.
And now this is the test. How much did he use up on the tires? He didn't have to battle as long as the first run. The first long run, I should rather say. So Nieto can run back at his pace. Go back to the bottom line. Try and diamond it off the corner and run the yellow line. While Mogard, he's a lot better on the short run, I've noticed. Especially in the first 25 laps. Now, he's losing speed and pretty quickly. Right now, 25 ones. Everybody else is either the 24 nines or 25 flats.
Yeah, 24-8 for Ferdinand, 25 flat for Trudell, 24-9 Terrell, 24-9 for Nieto, Mogard a 25-1. They are all within, but a 2 or 3 tenth of a second leniency. All those drivers again trying really in through a battle to just put down consistent lap times as Terrell will look down to the inside of the 7 car trying to get some positioning. Unable to do so again, it was Trudell who made the pass on Terrell off the restart. Full car trying to fight and get it back.
Yeah, he's really hungry to get back into the second position. Trudell good on both the short and long run today. But Terrell's been shown he's good in the final 20 or 30 laps. Look at how he banked it off the corner. Uses the bottom of the yellow line of turn 2 as a ramp. If you hit the bump in the right way to get towards the bottom and the apex of the corner, you can do that, and that is a massive amount of speed you can gain in just 1 lap if you hit it every single time.
And we'll see now for the 4 how he wants to play the final 35 laps of this race. Goes back to the conversation we had off of the restart. Do you want him now? Do you push now? Or do you wait? Just try to keep that, consistent amount of pressure on him, and then try to force the 7 into tearing up his equipment or even making a mistake. We've seen mistakes happen in some of these battles for top 5 positions tonight. That's the reason why the 4 cars got all that back-end damage, as he has not had a perfect evening. Trudell has stayed out of that for the most part, mainly because he had to come from behind. Started this race P6, was behind a lot of those early top 5 battles, eventually got into the position where he is now, clearly a second or third best car. Freenage still running away, 3.3 ahead. This battle for second, one of the still big lingering question marks. And when I say battle for second, I'm going to include Sam Nieto in that mix. Don't look now, but the 2-car closing in this group.
I was about to say, he's gone back to the yellow line in 3 and 4 especially, and that's gaining him a little bit of time, bit by bit. Was the fastest car last time by the track. This time by not as quick as Andrew Freenage, but he's quicker than these 2 drivers. He's just looking very confident again to ride that bottom line to try and save the tires a little bit, to try and put himself in position to fight for the second position. Right now, everyone is about dead even just about in terms of pace on this racetrack, so it's going to be difficult to try and, if you try and make a pass here, Evan, to try and do it quickly while not making sure, too, you don't lose too much time up in the front.
And lap traffic could be another factor still. We've seen that come into play a couple of times this season. It ain't that thick, though, throughout the rest of the field, so I don't think that Freenage really has much to be worried about. And, you know, we did see several, single-car incidents that didn't trigger yellows, but, I mean, were incidents in cars sliding and spinning that you always have to be aware of. That is what would be on my mind if I'm Freenage, but for Nieto, again, it is still about trying to close in through to Trudell and to Terrell, second and third. Now that we are inside of the final 30 from Iowa. Coverage tonight to the RealSimRacing Icebreaker Winter Series, as always, is supporting the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth. The NPHY is the most comprehensive service provider for the thousands of young people experiencing homelessness in our community, providing access to life-changing services for homeless youth 24 hours a day at virtually every street corner in Southern Nevada. NPHY's wraparound programs stabilize young people's lives, meeting their immediate needs and providing a safe, supportive environment and a path to self-sufficiency. NPHY's individualized holistic services empower young people to not only achieve long-term independence, but to craft the futures they want for themselves. Visit nphy.org for more information on how you can help and make a difference in your community. 26 to go will be the mile marker the next time by. Freenage kind of balanced out. I think the 88 may have turned off the afterburners a little bit and wants to play it safe and mistake-free, comfortable with the advantage that he currently holds.
Yeah, compared to especially these drivers, all he has to do is keep the car clean and hope it keeps it staying green, to say at the very least at this point, because as soon as Taro, if he gets a chance to go side-by-side, or Nieto goes side-by-side with Taro, or any of the combination of those drivers go side-by-side, the gap's going to grow either way. So he's in a situation where he can just save and keep himself calm, cool, and collected and ride along as he can, while these drivers have to fight to try and gain points.
Yeah, that is the thing, is there is not only, as you see Trudell and way down the hill, not only the battle for the championship win, but everybody's fighting for a little bit of all of it, as Kyle Trudell got way loose that time off of the quarter, and that eliminated his advantage that he had just started to get from the 4 of Terrell. He ended up way down the racetrack, was able to recover, and he'll be okay, I believe. But the 4 machine out within striking distance. The Nieto's there as well. We may have a treat, folks, headed into the final 20.
Apparently had a screen freeze where it ended up making him where he couldn't see where he was going and lost him a few tenths on the racetrack. And now, all of a sudden, the battle's back on for P number 2 because of it. A bad timing for that situation. Now, everybody behind him has seen a chance to pounce.
Yeah, they all see that mistake as their opportunity. So Terrell sees it as an opportunity to get up on Trudell, but Nieto sees it as his chance to go for the 4 cars. So they do have 3 of them all lined up. That big bobble by Terrell added a second just like that to Freddie Dodge's advantage, and the car behind all of these drivers, Jared Mogard, not within striking distance. That is almost about a 1.5 to 2 second disadvantage for him. He is safely ahead of McClendon, so this may be the fight to watch coming down to the end. Still fighting, in the pack, Kuczynski and Pearson for P8 and 9. Those drivers have been quiet. Thomas George and Kyle Kamer for 10th and 11th. You can see all those intervals at the top of your screen. But the question is, of these three, only 2 of them have steps on the podium. Here's Nieto to the bottom.
And this is getting right back to the situation of, can Nieto make a move? And the proper move, rather, I should say. We've seen how long it took for him to get by Mogart. Now, it's get up and go time with about 20 to go, plus this time by. There's not a lot of time to be patient now. So wouldn't be surprised to see him really push to try and get something to go in the pass.
And just looking here as that 2-car drove it into the inside again, Nieto has kind of had to figure this out as the night's gone on. It wouldn't be the first time that he's struggled to make a move. I still think if Trudell could avoid mistakes, he's probably fast enough to stay atop of this trio of cars for second, third, and fourth. But I do believe of this group, Terrell may be the most vulnerable.
Yeah, I think at this point might be. He has that back end damage a little bit. He's been slinging it around the corners, really fishtailing a tight touch in the right rear tire off some of these corners. So this is going to put him up for grabs. I don't know if he's got the same pace as the 7 of Trudell at this point. And I don't know if Nieto's got the same pace, though, to try and get the job done. It's going to take some mistakes from any of these drivers, I think, to make the move, though, Evan. And or using someone like Dalen Gidman as a pick.
Yeah, Gidman is up and into the fence. The 94 car wanted to get all the way out of the way. He's 2 laps down in 21st position and got a lot of damage in one of those prior incidents. It was chaos down in turns 3 and 4, so the extra bit of contact to the wall done hurt him, and these drivers were able to get through pretty easily. I mean, we saw some attempted picks at one point with the lapped car on the outside down the back. We also saw some attempted picks even using other lead lap cars to try to box people in and take away a preferred line. It is really just to get it done with any means necessary, and still waiting on that challenge, the 2 to the bottom, but he's not threatening when he's throwing it in there from 2-3 car lengths behind. He needs to either, follow the 4 maybe, or I guess if you're running the same line as Taro, you're not going to be gaining much, but he needs to, I think, get a little bit closer before he throws it back down to the way inside in 3 and 4.
I think at this point, he's just trying something different here. Yes, you can ride up the top line. The thing is, there's the chance you run the dead even pace. He's trying to gain, I think, some time to then establish himself to try and go for that type of a situation. But they do have a car up in front of them, Steve Durham, who might be a factor in this battle. He's the 20th position driver.
And we'll see if he is a factor or not. Race leaders, or lead lapped cars, I should say, going to go to the outside line. Durham holds the bottom. So last time they had to go by down low. This time they navigate the traffic on the outside. And he is going to stay well and out of the way. Durham has to not interfere at all. And again, maybe an opportunity for somebody to try to make something up that doesn't come of it. And, if you're Taro, you see that lapped car coming, he kind of benefits because he's in the middle. It'd be difficult for the 4 car to get caught off guard. If something's going to happen, Trudell might be the one who comes up on it on time. Nieto again down to the yellow. It's funny because down at that end of the racetrack, you see the 4 and the 7. They both run up higher, down into 1 and 2. They all run about the same. It is a shallower entry for the 2, but they all do eventually end up on that bottom. But down in 3 and 4 is where they disagree, where they stay high and the 2 car goes low.
I think this is actually where the mistake might be coming. You might have noticed something there, Evan, because it was talked about a little bit with some of the team members I have on my iRacing side and the personal side, where if you try and go for that flat entry, it burns up the right front. Nieto's been going for that flat entry, a lot of the corner entries in this later run in this race. That might be killing his tires a little bit to where it's hurting him at that end of the racetrack especially, and he's trying to balance it out in 3 and 4, but it's just not getting the job done because he has to lift so much to try not slide or push up into the fence every time he gets the run to the bottom.
And he's running out of opportunities because the next time by, there is going to be just 10 laps to go from Iowa. Andrew Ferdinand still looking like he's going to go to a 4th straight win in this Icebreaker Winter Series. It would be a very fitting day, way I guess I should say, on the penultimate day of this 2019 campaign to cap off what has been an incredible year for the driver of the 88 car in RealSimRacing competition. Set the all-time record for wins in Full Throttle Cup, and he may be well on his way to do the same in Icebreaker as he looks to back up a title in this series from 2 years ago. Here's again for third, Nieto inside, gets to the quarter panel. A little bit better that time on exit, but still needs that extra. And as these cars fight, look at the 7 car pulling away.
Yeah, the 7 is definitely getting some good runs at this point. And you can tell Tero's just trying to use the bottom as a ramp off the exit of turn number 2. Nieto, every time he takes that hard entry in turn 1, it loses him all that speed he gathers up. It's not helping him. It's going to take one move for him to try and get a job done. Had to get off the gas to make sure he didn't bobble off 4.
Yeah, we saw Nieto get into the fence there. A little bit of sparks coming off of that race car as he tried to follow the 4 car through, and I don't know if that's going to be a surmountable difference. He drops, I mean, a noticeable 3-4 car lengths off. If he wasn't able to get it right when he was on the bumper, not sure he's going to be able to really pull it in now. As that 7 of Trudell, though, all of a sudden it comes back. He had just checked out, but he caught the fence on the entry to 3, and now he is once again a target.
Still has to hold on for as long as he can on this racetrack. It's going to get very dicey, to say the very least, in this battle. We know Terrell had saved before on the first long run. Question is, as he was losing ground, did he try and do so on the second run for this moment with 6 to go?
6 laps to go. Of course, Ferdinand wants this one to make it all the way, obviously, to the checkered, but primarily get to the white flag. So this race is official. All races in RSR competition in this Icebreaker Winter Series version of the rulebook, 3 attempts at a green and white checker to finish if they are so necessary. And with an aggressive 3-way battle here, if there is to be an incident, it may come from this group of race cars that we're looking at right now. Now inside of 5 to go.
This is going to be difficult for these drivers to do it calm, cool, and cleanly. There's not a lot of time to have any sort of errors. Nieto going to try as hard as he can, I think, to try and get that bottom to work, because we've seen how effective it can be when he forced the driver above to check up.
Have it again, make a mistake, drop back, pull back away, made another mistake, got reeled in once more, pulls away. That consistency is going to be the reason why the 7 car made this one interesting. Again, that second place, if he's able to hold on to it, I think is exactly where that car should end up this evening. This time by, now 3 laps to go from Iowa. Lap traffic to the bottom, not going to be a factor for Ferdinand up front. He's got a ton of traffic up the road, but they're all single file and shouldn't be too much of a factor as Sam Nieto wants to crack a podium spot.
Great exit off turn 2 last time by, and a good entry this time. Just needs to find a way to get the run. Just can't get the grip he needs off the corner.
He just doesn't have it at quarter exit. It has been where that machine was lacking all night long. I don't see him getting that car length and a half. Is way up the field now already. Coming off of turn number 4, Andrew Ferdinand is going to see the white flag. It is the last lap for the virtual Iowa Speedway. Nieto, though, has his best corner exit in some time. He'll look to the bottom of the 1. Terrell also going to drive it in so hard on entry to stay atop the 2 car, and that should be enough as Ferdinand going to come off of the corner for number 4 in a row, getting the win tonight from Iowa.
Absolute domination from Andrew from start to finish. Led just about every single lap tonight here at Iowa. Man, he just put on a pure clinic this evening.
He's done it so many times at so many different kinds of racetracks. The intermediates at Atlanta Homestead. Of course, then to the road course at Mid-Ohio, and We'll go down to one of the shorter tracks on the campaign tonight at Iowa. Does not matter. That 88 machine is good, and he has had some notable challenges, but tonight was not one of them, as he was the best car under green flag conditions in BioLive. As he celebrates on the front straightaway, we'll take a quick second to step aside, and when we come back, we'll talk with him, the rest of your top finishers, and let you know what you can expect in 1 week's time as we go racing once more next Monday on January the 6th from Chicago. You're watching LSR TV's coverage of the 2020 RealSimRacing Icebreaker Winter Series. Post-race action coming up on the iRacing Esports Network.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
And back live for the virtual Iowa Speedway, we're at LSR TV's coverage of the 2020 RealSimRacing Icebreaker Winter Series, supporting the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth, continued tonight as we are halfway through this campaign, and we are done with all of the races in 2019. Andrew Ferdinand is your winner. We'll go trackside and talk with him in a moment. First, I want to welcome you back into the booth. Evan Pasoko, Justin Prince, Randy Chendit with you as we go trackside and take a look at our Ford Entertainment Group full race results. Ferdinand wins it to the tune of 6.9 seconds atop Kyle Trudell, who along with Bobby Terrell will be trackside with us in just a moment. Sam Nieto unable to make that pass at the very end, comes home in fourth, and Jared Bogard runs out your top five. Continuing on through, Scott McClendon with a P6 result here. Brian Chambliss finishes 7th, Kevin Pearson 8th, Michael Kaczynski quietly sneaks up to a P9, and Kyle Kamer rounds out the top 10.
John Rodden, one of the biggest movers of the race, if not the biggest mover, from 24th to 11th at the checker flag of the FedEx machine. Thomas George finished in 12th, Gael Brooks in 13th, Ross Cato, last car in the lead lap, in 14th. One driver finished one lap down, it was David Washington in 15th, with Bobby Krug coming home 2 laps down in 16th. Todd Novosad had some damage, finished in 17th, with Steve Cunningham, Jonathan Lawrence, and Galen Gidman rounding out the top 20.
And then continuing on through cars that were laps down, still in the race. Steve Durham and Steve Soa, 21st, 22nd. The bottom four, as noted, by the time we got halfway home, we're out of it. So Jonathan Cadell, Sean Kalis, Eric Stanford, and Joshua Baird, all unable to make it all the distance. They'll finish out the field 23rd through position 26. That's what looked at the bottom at the FEG full race results. FEGPC has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built affordable computers specifically built and tuned for iRacing. Your PC will come with everything you need preloaded so you can get racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today and join the over 600 members already enjoying an FEGPC. Builds to fit every budget from $540 and up. Go to FEGPC.net and code LSRTV10 to get your build quoted today. Down track side with the driver of the number 88 car, who is 4 in a row on Monday nights. Andrew, congratulations on the win. Under the lights at Iowa, and that car was locked in from the get-go.
Yeah, thanks. This was a really challenging week with this new tire model, and I really don't like Iowa, so it was a lot of practice. I think me and Steve, I know I did probably already 1,200 laps, and Steve was upwards of 600, and just crazy trying to learn how to redrive the car. It's almost like a different simulation for me. Just you got to learn how to save tires and go fast, and struggled the first part of the week there, just burning the right front off, and I found something in that race, especially in 3 and 4, kind of double apexing the turn there that helped out. But man, feels really good for all that work to pay off.
Of course, coming into this one with Nick missing 2 starts in a row has you, in the catbird seat to fight for the championship here. It is going to need, a lot more than you just not winning a race for those drivers behind to catch up. But of course, tonight, the car looked great, as I mentioned, was able to run out, get out in control early on. First time, though, on the oval with the new tire model that was first, I guess, used in competition we saw last week in Mid-Ohio. What were your thoughts on how it played out?
You know, I wish the fall-off was a little more. That could have just been the track temp tonight, though. But it's definitely interesting. It's really different, and it's a little disappointing that it takes 40, 50 laps for it to really start wearing, but once you get to that point, I was really happy with it. It felt, loose and really fun to drive. So I'm waiting to judge it till we get to some other tracks, but kind of a positive review after this one.
And those other tracks will include Chicagoland next week, Auto Club the week after, Rockingham, Talladega, Phoenix, the next 5, all very different. I assume it's got to be an A grade for the first half of your season. 5 down, 5 to go. What's the outlook as we turn the calendar to 2020?
Yeah, just try to keep doing what we're doing. I cannot wait for Rockingham. I'm going to say that now. It's my favorite track on the sim, and I'm so excited we get to go there. But we have a decent-sized points lead, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, you can take it easy. You really can't, because, it just takes the power going out once. In real life, they have blown tires, blown motors. We have disconnects, and, power goes out. Internet could get disconnected, so you definitely want to build up that lead, and we still have Talladega to go. So just kind of keep repeating what we've been doing, and hope it keeps going as well as it has.
We look forward to as this Icebreaker Championship continues into the new year. But certainly 2019 was the year of that 88 car. Andrew, we'll let you get out of here and get to celebrating and enjoying what has been a good year for you as New Year's is tomorrow. But before, and as always, sponsors, shout-outs, who makes it happen?
Yeah, real quick, just want to say happy holidays to everyone, and hope everyone has a good New Year's Eve here. Got to thank you guys for broadcasting. I know we had a little problem with the setup there. You guys fixed it real quick. Really do appreciate the work you guys do. Everybody over at Aegis, especially Steve, he did a lot of practice this week. He was running really good. Just rookie mistakes got him. So happy with him. Everybody over Aegis, all the drivers in this league. A lot of I was going by a lot of lap cars they were moving over. I just appreciate the respect that they give me, and I hope one day I can return that. I think that's about it. And all the fans for watching. I hope we put on a good show for you guys.
Appreciate you being a part of the series, Andrew. Again, congratulations on the win. Happy New Year. We'll catch you next Monday.
Thanks so much, guys.
The race winner tonight from Iowa in the NPHY.org 150. Kyle Trudell home second place once more, and Justin, you're trackside with him.
Yes, indeed, Kyle. How are you feeling after a hard-fought second place finish tonight?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. It was definitely tough holding Bobby off there. He was pretty quick and probably quicker than me on that last run.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the consistency there. We were talking a little bit where you would gain a little bit of time, then you would make a mistake, fall back, right to them, pick up some time, fall back once again. How difficult was it to try and keep that consistency up in terms of keeping the pace together? Because it seemed like you got faster and faster as this night progressed.
Yeah, on that first run, I was just more or less trying to feel the car out and, had a long race to go, so I just was taking my time. Wanted to save my stuff a little bit because I figured we would have a green flag run, or at least one. So, yeah, it was pretty good. This new tire model is definitely, we were talking about it, it's different. Car feels like it's in the track, which is good, but it's kind of hard to get a beat on it.
Indeed, as well. With that, how difficult was it to try and manage the equipment? You mentioned the difficulty with the new tire model a little bit there, but how difficult was it to try and get it to where it was good on the long run compared to some others who burned up their stuff early in the run?
Yeah, I was trying to take care of that right front. Just in a little bit of practice I had, seemed like it was going to be easy to burn that off. So I was trying to take care of that as much as I could, especially going into one. I felt like that's where that's where my weakness was, but I was trying to take care of the stuff there.
Next race sees us go back to the 1.5 miles. Your thoughts as we get ready for the next race on the schedule in 2020?
Yeah, happy New Year out there to everybody. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, get a little bit more grip in this tire, and should have a lot of fun with some high speeds up there.
Yeah, at Chicagoland we go to the next race, but is there anyone you want to thank before we let you get going, before you prepare for Chicagoland?
Well, I just want to thank Andrew for dusting us once again, and Bobby for a good race there, and everybody for racing pretty clean. It was a lot of fun, and you guys for broadcasting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the time, Kyle.
Cheers, thanks.
That was Kyle Trudell coming home second tonight. Evan, back to you.
Well, let's go trackside with the third place finisher as Bobby Taro comes home on the podium, able to hold off Sam Nieto as he is able to get his P3 result tonight. We're trackside with him. Bobby, congratulations on a good result for you this evening. I know that you probably would have wanted one more spot, and Kyle said you might have had the speed to get the job done there at the end anyways, but through damage and a fight with the 2 car, you end up third tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. Yeah, I was happy. I didn't get a lot of practice, and I hadn't really turned many laps with this new tire model. It's definitely different, and I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Well, there were some points tonight as drivers, you guys first time on an oval with this tire model, tried to figure this out where we'd see side-by-side fights and cars could get there and they weren't able to pass and and all that. You start this race in third, you finish this race in third. I know that's not the tail of the tape, but just kind of walk us through this race, how you were able to navigate that 4-car to your best finish of the season.
Like I said, I started out qualified third, and then like I said, those guys were running a lot harder than me, and I fell back to 6. And then I was able, was happy that I was able to work my way back into second in that long run we had. It felt fantastic. The second run, I'm not sure really what happened when we had that long run. Me and the 00 got together. Jared got together there. I think I got a little bit loose. I don't know if he come up or not, but I don't know if I had damage or not. But I was trying to get Kyle, and then, like I said, Sam was giving me all kinds of pressure, and I couldn't really change lines very much because he was, he was trying to get around me. So, I mean, I'm happy to come home P3. Had a little computer issue tonight, but got it worked out and come home P3. I'm happy.
Still got a lot of racing to go. 5 down, 5 left as we head back to Chicago. But there's, a whole array of racetracks. Intermediates mixed in there, a plate race, Fontana, Rockingham, Phoenix. Basically one of everything still to come. If you had to circle one of those dates coming up, where do you think that 4-car might be able to find that little bit more, put it in victory lane?
We run Homestead. I'd have to look at the schedule.
Homestead done, but we do have Chicago's the only 1.5 left. We got Chicago, Auto Club, Rockingham, Dega, and Phoenix.
Auto Club or Phoenix. I like both of those tracks. But like I said, I think everybody, everybody's going to be a little bit of a curve for the new tire model. See how it plays out.
Well, certainly this was just a step in it. I did think it was kind of interesting that the first week with it fell on Mid-Ohio. But as always, with these builds throughout seasons, we expect to see, you and everybody else figure it out as we go on into the 2020 half of the calendar, Bobby. But happy to have you in this Icebreaker series for this 2019 side. Looking forward to what's still to come. Before we let you go, anybody you want to say hi to?
I just want to thank, LSR TV for putting this on. And I would also like to thank all the drivers tonight for the clean racing and the side-by-side racing that we had. It was just unbelievable. I mean, like I said, when we were passing people inside and, outside, it was fun, really fun.
We certainly enjoyed watching a lot of those battles from up top tonight. Bobby, again, congrats on the good result. Thanks for chatting with us. Happy New Year, and we'll catch you at Chicago next week.
Yep, Happy New Year to you guys, too, and shout out to Andrew for such a dominant win.
It is your third place finisher tonight, and big thanks to all of our top finishers for chatting. Bobby Terrell right there with the third place result, as well as Kyle Trudell, and as Bobby noted, Andrew Friedage, who continues to put on a show with his 4th win now in 5 starts. And halfway through the championship, Justin, the championship picture gets even more stretched out with Chicago due up next. Maybe the biggest story in the second half of the year is going to be figuring out the new tire model, as opposed to wondering if anybody's got something for the 88 car.
I think it's definitely going to be a huge storyline. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to figure things out and adjust, because Andrew right now looks like he's going to be very, very good when it comes to this model, to say the very least. But it's going to be an interesting race. We go to Chicagoland next, and that's another one of Andrew's good tracks when it comes to low downforce packages.
It is going to be a fun one, and of the intermediates, having already done Atlanta and Homestead, Chicago is one of my favorites, so I don't know if that means anything, but it'll be fun for me to watch, certainly, and hopefully the on-track action is exciting. As tonight concludes what has been our 100th broadcast on the iRacing Esports Network, and of course, our final one for the 2019 racing season. Through Full Throttle Cup and through the start of Icebreaker, Justin, have seen so many great battles and great finishes this year, and expecting a lot of the same through and into next year on Monday nights here on LSR TV and the network.
Yeah, it was a thrilling 2019 to say the very least. I'm curious to see what happens in 2020, especially as we continue on with the Icebreaker series. But I'm also curious to see what happens when we get back in the Cup cars come February onward, to see who's able to succeed once now they've had a lot more time to adjust to the Cup car package before they get ready for the next gen car in 2021.
And we look forward to that, but until then, that's it for us here tonight from Iowa. As always, on behalf of our entire team at LSR TV, behind the scenes on the various series throughout the week, and for your team tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Justin Prince, and our producer downstairs, Randy Janet, want to thank you for tuning in and to congratulate Andrew Friedage, a fitting end to 2019 as he is in victory lane once more. Encourage you all to have a safe and happy Happy New Year, and we'll see you from Chicagoland next week on Monday, January the 6th. That race and every race of the 2020 Real Sim Racing Icebreaker Winter Series can be found right here on LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Until next time, good night from Iowa, where it's Andrew Ferdinand, his 4th in a row.